Andrea Crobu was born in the town of Zevio, Verona province in Italy. He grew up with a fishing rod in his hands in the commune Malcesine on the eastern shore of Lake Garda, as well as the city of Verona. From a long line of photographers and owning his first camera at age 14, he attended the University of Verona and also won an Erasmus grant to study in Finland for his degree in communication and linguistics. To date, his fishing and filming projects have taken him to Finland, Sweden, Austria, Croatia, Spain, South Africa, Botswana, and Mexico. Andrea has future plans for fishing films in Lake Ikiara, Japan, for black bass and lake trout, northern Lapland for Arctic char, Sweden for pike, grayling, perch, and tenkara, as well as Sardinia for Mediterranean trout, sea bass, and black bass. Strap in now because Andrea is about to show us just some of his stunning footage and the stories behind it as we sit down to talk fishing and filming. So don't blink. Andrea, thank you so much for joining us today. It's a massive pleasure to have you on. I was so delighted when you actually said yes to this. Before we jump into the full conversation, I think we should just let people get a bit more of a glimpse and a flavour of what you're all about. So could you share with us your 2019 and a rapid quickfire edit for us?
I think I can. So let me just share the screen, if I remember how to do it. And let's take a look.
This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now.
Now we are not visible, not listenable, I suppose.
Yeah, no.
Super, okay, so it's super boring without music. This is Sinaloa, Mexico. $100,000 boat.
Yeah, that was one where you were hooning across the water at like 80 kilometers an hour, wasn't it?
Yeah, this is Orbitello, flamingos and everything.
Hey,
our good friend.
Ciao Vito.
This is my friend Matteo in the Chiese River.
I met Matteo. Yeah, Vito introduced us.
This is Sardinia.
Big bass, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's something stupid what this guy can do. He can fish only. He goes only for big bass.
Wow.
So we have one catch a day, but the smaller is 2.5 kilo. So it's I have to speak in pounds. So it's we were 10 pounder there. So it's a 5 pounder.
Good grading too. It's on the case again.
Yeah, still in Chiesa. This is South Africa. Huge bass. Not this one. This is this big. Super small. But we forgot to do the macro shot with this because Andrea was so pumped up that he almost freed it immediately. It has been the hardest expedition, not as hard as this one. Inner Sardinia, 6 days of rain out of 7. Okay, wow. It's almost over. This is the last one.
Cool.
So it has been a very full 2019.
You're not kidding. I was going to say, screw the interview. Let's go fishing. It's like, just got me completely amped for getting out there and wetting a line. So you must have had some pretty crazy experiences this year, but what would you say the most standout experience of 2019 was for you?
Most standard experience, we have been filming a video for my good friend Matteo about fly fishing for grayling in the River Chiesa in Trentino, in northeastern Italy, in the Alps. And that has been pretty regular because you just have to drive there a couple of hours from our place here in Verona and just go fishing. So in a couple of days, we managed to catch enough grayling and enough trout to put it together a nice video. and we were pretty happy with that.
That's cool. I mean, we saw some of the shots, I think, in there. Some of the big grayling that we saw were I guess, were from part of that project.
Yeah, we were very lucky because I could have I had a good friend of mine, Alberto, who also helped with the filming. So we have a multi-camera situation, and the results turn out pretty good.
Cool. So I'm definitely going to dig a bit more into that and some of the venues and some of the fishing that we've seen in that clip. But just going back for the people that to give folks a bit of an insight to yourself, what was your first memory of fishing? How did you get into fishing itself at the beginning?
Well, I grew up in a northern part of the Lake Garda in northern Italy, in a small village called Malcesine. Malcesine has this huge medieval castle in the middle, which is an incredible place to go and to visit. Still nowadays, it's still open. And the castle is on a rock directly over the lake, so you cannot fish from the castle because it's 30 meters above the water level, but you can go
Where's
fish.
Your ambition?
And you can go fish directly down there. So Malcesine was this lovely village without any car because the streets are too narrow, so it's only people walking everywhere. So all us children were just running free until 10 o'clock in the evening because there was nothing to worry about. So everyone know each other. So we just went fishing on the new docks, the old docks on the beach, under the castle, under the library. The library is on the lake, so you can just look at the lake while reading. So I just grew up as a fisherman there. So it was basically lake fishing for trout, for pikes mostly, and a lot of whitefish. And some, when we were extremely lucky and the big guys took us in the boat, we were doing some traditional fishing. So it's called pirlindana in Italian. It's an extremely long line, like 200 meters line, with a ball of lead every 10 centimeters, and a huge metal spoon at the end, basically. So you just go particularly slow with your boat, and just keep releasing line, a meter of line after a meter after meter of line. So you get to enough depth, from 60 to 100 meter depth, and you can catch the carpione, which is the indigenous trout of Lake Garda. It only exists there. It's called Salmo trutta carpio, which is a trout that lives from 80 to 150 meters depth. And so it's not a common situation in the Alps. So it just lives there. So we just grew up eating carpione and pikes. And as a children, a lot of small whitefish with a rod and line.
Yeah. So I mean, it sounds like an absolutely ideal. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people watching this are completely jealous of that as an upbringing.
It was a pretty really nice place to be. I think I can show you something about that. But let's see what Google image. if they can. Oh yeah. Here it is. So is this kind of place. By the way, I'm pretty happy to share because it's always good to see one's infancy. Let's see. Share screen. I'm sorry, but we are all under quarantine in these days, so our connection are overcrowded. Is that the word?
Yeah.
So this is Malcesine.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah, so you weren't kidding about the castle, yeah.
No, there's a castle, and then there's the lake. So it's a medieval village, so you can't just drive a car in it. You just get stuck between the alleys. And I've tried it, so I can give you my word. So this is Lake Garda, which is the biggest lake in Italy, and it's an extremely windy one. So here in this particular place, they do the World Championship over windsurf and kite surfing. So the wind just came down 100 kilometers per hour. It's pretty intense.
Wow.
It's a nice
That's
place to go out.
astonishing. Yeah, yeah, you're telling me. And then, so how's you can tell me a bit about the getting into the photography side of things as well, because obviously that sort of came along, and you seem to have combined those interests.
Yes, I came from a long line of photography. I think, the third generation now, because my grandfather was a photographer during the 1920s and 1930 until he retired in the 60s. So then his son took over. Then my cousin has the shop, and I'm the freelancer going all around this. So we have always been photographing, and the great things that nowadays with the same camera you can also do some filming. So
Yes.
it kind of help a lot.
Yeah.
It's particularly hard to adapt because they look similar, but they are two totally different worlds. You have to
absolutely. I mean,
carry more stuff and suffer a lot while walking.
Absolutely. I mean, I've sort of learned enough to do sort of second camera work for the stuff that John sort of edits as part of the things that we do, and yeah, it's a whole nother skill set between the videography and the photography and whatever else. But yeah, I mean, the stuff that you created, I always just love watching it because there's so much kind of love and passion in the shots themselves that they all sort of come out just amazing as far
well,
as
you have to be a fisherman before, because you must know what other fishermen would like to see.
Yes.
So
and
when you
nowhere
film
to
live
look.
action,
Yeah, nowhere to point the camera.
Because nowadays in the social media era, especially in Italy, I don't know, in Britain I suppose it's the same, but everyone is criticizing everyone and accusing everyone of faking it. So now we have to film the cast, the attack, the strike, the fight, the netting, the exhibition of the fish, and the release. So everything must be live.
Yeah.
So in order to do all live, you must be filming all day. Until he gets the fish. So every now and then is super easy, and in 10-20 minutes you get the fish and you're happy. Some of the bass fishing video I'll show you has been extremely hard, because we only got in a 7-day expedition, we only had 6 fish, one for each day at the sunset, after 12 hours of fishing. That sometimes is just brutal.
Tell you what, why don't we jump in and have a look at some of that footage that you got from that expedition, because it is worth sort of flagging up that the guy you were fishing with, I mean, he is a big bass specialist, so he is looking for that one special fish a day.
Yeah, he's a super professional. This was a video for a Japanese brand called Guncraft. They do extremely high-hand lure and high-hand rod for bass fishing. So this was for celebrating the 15 years of their most sold lure. It's called Jointed Claw.
The classic IU sort of yellow spot.
So this has been brutal. So it's 6 days of rain. We are almost 8,800 meters above sea level, inner Sardinia, where you hope to find good weather, but it is not the case. And this is the March. So you can see conditions are really brutal.
Yeah. I mean, your drone must have been struggling to keep up. I mean, you look to be flying across that lake just then.
You see, there's air temperature 9 degrees.
Wow.
This is an amazing. It's a pretty long video, so I suggest we stop after this first fish.
Yeah.
Because it's a 9-minute video. Okay, so the music is pumping. That's a 2,000 euro rod.
Oh, is that the one with the diamond inlay?
Yep. You can see the diamond if you want after, but it's just. So this is a monster fish. People will just fly to Mexico, fly to whatever to catch something like this. It's a 6-pounder, more than 6 pounds.
Wow. He wants to mug it and get it in that net as fast as possible too.
is an immense fish. It looks, it's shaped like a rugby ball.
Yeah.
It's stupidly big.
What a warrior.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, you see the real heft of it then.
It's strong. Okay, now after Andrea says hello to us, we can just stop the video. Okay, so that was the first fish of the first 2 days.
That's a fish.
Yeah, and
you've got to be ready you've got to be right on it with the camera to make sure that
not only was ready, I was already filming in slow motion.
Yeah,
because I was so confident that we've been fishing all around the lake.
Yeah,
and that was the beginning of the lake where the river enters. So I say, well, if there's something, is there. So I switched from regular speed to slow motion, because for bassmen are pretty different than other people, than other fishermen. They don't like the fish in the water.
Yeah,
for them the fish is beautiful in the net, and only in the net, preferably on the boat.
Yeah.
From where that was a 5 pound fish, more than 5 pound, was 3.3 kilograms. I'm sorry, I don't.
Oh yeah, that's somewhere between
the connection.
Yeah, so almost 7 pounds probably. Yeah.
It's an enormous fish, almost 7 pound. Yes, and for Italy is I think it is, if it is not the biggest ever caught, is in that range. So in order to get that, Andrea Corradi, and the guy I was filming with, he fished all day long for 2 days under a constant rain, a miserable condition. And when we arrived there, the whole action is, I think, 12 seconds.
Yeah.
Because he's a huge power fisher. So extremely strong rod, extremely strong reel, extremely strong line and everything. So it's just a furious action on the reel and the fish is on the boat. If you don't film in slow motion, you don't have footage.
Yeah, true.
Because it's so intense, so immediate, so intense action that.
But that's such a hard balance. If you're filming for 2 days to get that special fish, I mean, you can't just run, you can't burn in slow motion the whole time. So like you say, you've got to be an angler. Otherwise, you don't know when those high percentage opportunities are actually on, when it is the time to switch into that. So that, you can't get that with just, I say just, but, regular camera guys.
No, you have to suffer.
Yeah. They haven't had, Absolutely.
You have to suffer. And then there are more tricks, so you can have multiple camera rolling. So every 5 minutes you stop one, you start the other, and so on. So multiple camera on the same angle. But in that case, to have such a dynamic shot, the camera was on a gimbal, so handheld all the time. So it was handheld in the camera with an umbrella in on my back, just trying to shelter me from the rain, and then just following the action. So it was a pretty intense day, and after the whole expedition, I was dead.
Yeah. That's what gets me when you see some of these sort of naive YouTube comments, and we sort of get them from time to time ourselves, obviously, and they just, oh, you should have just been standing wherever, and it's like, dude, we walked for like a day to get into that. There was just enough light. We only just managed to get what we got.
Well,
skin in your teeth sort of thing,
yeah, but that doesn't work for bass fishing.
No.
Because for bass fishing is for lazy fishermen. So you just sit on the boat and just stand there. So Andrea never walks, for example. He has an incredible physique. He's a supermodel guy, but he works out a lot in the game. But when fishing, he's just standing on his boat. And
oh, dude, if you got a boat like that, I mean, who's gonna walk? Who's gonna walk anywhere?
That's one of the boat we use is Stratos. I think it's one of the first bass boat ever brought to Italy. And he has been restoring it. It works. It just runs smoothly on the water. That expedition has been particularly brutal because those are all artificial lakes in inner Sardinia. So Sardinia is a place where normally when you go there on vacation, everything is yellow, everything is burned by the sun, there's no water, so they need to build this huge reservoir.
Yeah.
The problem is that they are not normally they are not that deep, and they have been building over a field where they take the ships, goats and ships and everything. So there are a lot of walls, underwater walls, and barbed wire.
Oh, I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. So while exploring one of the lateral branches, we just caught in barbed wire with our propeller, and we were totally fucked.
Yeah.
Because it was 6 in the evening. It was raining, of course. The sun had already been setting, so it was going dark, and the propeller simply wouldn't turn, and so we didn't know what to do, because we couldn't lift the propeller from the water, because of course it was kept under it. So luckily for me, I was thin. Now I'm not. I lighter than Andrea, I have to say. So Andrea kept me by the foot. I just used the thing you use to release the fish. To remove the hook.
like a forceps or hemostat, artery forceps or pliers.
Yeah. So I just went straight in the water. I grabbed the propeller and grabbed the barbed wire is not all iron. You have a lot of some steel cable and then iron. So you can manage to hope that one has been more corroded than the other. So I just grab it and start twinching in this way, hoping that eventually one part would break. So one break, then the other, then the other. We spend half an hour like that. So with him grabbing me by the feet, and I was freezing my hand off. All this with wind and rain, just to keep the spirit up. Eventually, we free ourselves and just go straight back to the let's say to the house, because hotel is a big word.
Okay, yeah. But I mean, the fact that it was still working after all that as well, because I mean, you could have seriously damaged the whole mechanism running into that at speed. So.
Yeah, but luckily we were using the electric before. We found out that we were in that situation the moment we switched to the the regular motor. It just gripped immediately. And that has been pretty a really bad situation.
So I mean, just skipping from one, out of the frying pan into the fire. I gather you probably had some pretty hairy moments in South Africa this time around.
We have been filming for Diawa and for Guncraft too, because they are partner companies. They work with each other. I think that Guncraft build a custom Diawa reel, so they probably need some tuning, something like that. That in Japan is very popular. And so we went in November. We went in northern South Africa, which is near the border with Botswana, so it's pretty down south. And after a very long flight, but eventually we got there. And once there, I immediately remember that in the southern hemisphere, November is not November. It was July. July is winter.
Yeah.
So it's not summer. So it was 8 degrees.
Yeah.
And I wasn't prepared for that at all.
You're not dressed for the weather.
No. T-shirt and flip-flops all day. So in the middle of the day, so around 1 or 2 p.m., it get warmer. It was 20 degrees, but the morning was freezing cold. And I can show.
I was just going to say, can we have a look at some of the things that you
I think I can show you the beginning of that video is more than enough, if I remember correctly. Let's see. Is this one? Yes, it is. Okay, I share the screen. That's pretty useful, by the way.
La passione per il bass fishing è una forza che hai dentro.
So this is the dam. And all those. This is a super cool effect you can do with the Mavic.
Un lago in una pianura sconfinata.
Yeah, you got that real parallax with the
Questa
foreground and the
pianura va
Yeah.
mountain
attraversata.
ridge there. And
So this is the crazy stuff, to crossing the desert with the boat.
Perché sai che la tua passione è forte. E se nessuno ci sia
In Italian it's called
passato,
savannah. In English, how is
tocca a
it
te
called?
aprire
Same.
una.
Same. Yeah,
Savannah.
yeah.
Okay. I have a couple of things to tell you about birds and bad things that happen here.
Yeah, I mean the vulture story was amazing. That
Now the vulture is in Mexico.
yeah, but we'll get to that as well, I think.
This is really more brutal than that.
Okay.
So okay, this is Andrea has to show how big he is, and he is pretty big. Okay, there's some commercial. So just give us money, buy Diawa. And I think we almost. Okay, I'd like to show you some power. Yeah, there's a pretty brutal skip cast here.
Yeah.
I think it's in the other video, by the way. It's in the Gungraph video.
Yeah.
Which I think we can. Yeah, this one.
There you go.
This is stupidly hard to do.
Yeah.
This is something.
You got it between the two stumps as well.
Yes. And this was a ginormous fish. This was something stupidly big. But it wasn't a bass. It was a giant catfish.
Really?
The biggest I've ever seen. But we need the action, so it became a bass in the editing. And this is the end of the video, so pretty nice.
Perfect. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Nice.
So that was the sum up of a crazy week, because just try to imagine how tense you are while fishing so far from home after investing so much time, money, and energy.
Yeah.
And you have 6 days of fishing. You didn't get anything for the first 4, so you start getting pretty nervous about this. And the winds start blowing pretty cold in the morning, so it's hard to get there. And to go to the dam, you have to cross all the savannah while trailing your boat, which is pretty crazy to cross a semi-desert with a boat behind you.
How did you get that there? I mean, what was the deal with that?
Was pretty brutal. We had a good friend of us who is Suleiman, who's the local guide.
Yeah.
And Andrea and Suleiman has been fishing together for some years now. They have been discovering where the bass are in those reservoirs. And how to say, the fish population in those lakes is crazy and extremely aggressive. So, for example, once I was there and I noticed that there were no ducks in the water, and all the ducks were on the shore. And normally in Italy we say that they know something I don't. So that was the case, because all ducks were inland, but really far from the water. Monkeys went drinking, but always running back. So I asked if there are any crocodile in the water. They told me, well, they are not supposed to be here, so maybe. And that's the reason why there are no underwater footage in that expedition, because I refused to put my hand under the boat with a maybe.
Yeah, that's good enough, isn't it? Yeah.
So we saw this, the typical dead white tree in the middle of the dam, the reservoir. And it was completely white because it was covered with, with bird poo, basically.
Yeah.
So and they were all cormorants. So it was packed with cormorants. In Italy, we really hate cormorants because they are killing everything here. So I wasn't particularly happy to meet them there, but I saw an opportunity to get some great footage, because if I managed to film some cormorant diving under and coming up with a bass, I would have been pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
So I put up the large zoom lens, switch on, start waiting, and eventually one dived in. So I got in on slow motion and dove in. And the time passed and it didn't come up. So we drove all the way there because I was pretty curious. And under that tree, it was black because there was all the fish of the world were there. So all the fish bags were directly under the cormorant tree. It was this giant tilapias But while getting there, I saw this. It's called Clarias, I suppose the name is a giant African catfish who was swallowing the cormorant. So a cormorant was in his mouth, and he was just moving like this in order to swallow it whole. And then I got why there were no ducks in the water.
Yeah. Just some very fat catfish.
you could only find giant pelicans in the water and extremely aggressive white-headed eagle, fisher eagle. There is a couple of seconds in the video where you have seen these white-headed eagles, and they are on the trees. They are eating what was tilapias.
Right.
So the nature there is is really, really wild. How to say? If it is not wild there, where should it be?
That's insane.
Yeah, I think bass were introduced in South Africa during the late 70s or the 80s. So now they are fighting their way against tigerfish and giant catfish. So it's a brutal environment.
Absolutely.
Andrea kept fishing the whole 6 days with a crazy energy that he has, because I live in a fishing paradise. I have fresh water streaming directly under my balcony, so I have trout all around me here in my place in Verona. So if I don't get anything in the first 30 minutes, I just go home. And they don't work like that. They just kept casting from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. with this ginormous, ginormous bait, which were pretty heavy. So half a pound of bait. For 8 hours straight. So but bassmen are crazy. So I just learned how to enjoy their company, and it's pretty nice. I don't fish bass at all. So we have this, this relationship based on mutual disrespect, because I really don't like anything he does, and so is the same is for him. So we just don't like each other, but we are totally sure that I will never go fishing where he goes. He goes, and the same.
But
the opposite is true.
That's the thing about fishing. It's so diverse, and there's some people can find their niche or their thing that they really, that they're great at or whatever, and it's got something for everyone in that respect. So it's a very cool thing that completely different personality types will find the sort of thing that appeals to them, for sure.
Well, we met each other in the Tenkara world, so we like canyon fishing, hiking, and stuff. Bass fishing is more like disco until 2 a.m. the night before, then straight on the boat with music on and everything. So because when this last winter we went to Mexico, I have some footage of that too. But bass boat in Mexico are bass boat for Americans, so they have a loudspeaker on it with Bluetooth connection, so everyone is sharing his favorite tune while driving 60 miles per hour on the surface. It's a crazy world.
They go hard, absolutely. You got to give it to them. They go hard, and don't take any prisoners.
Don't take any. I like that.
So tell me about your birthday trip this year then, and
my birthday trip. So my birthday trip was under quarantine. So given the situation, we are all stuck at home. So I've been posting some archive material, so fishing from the last season, from the season before, just to keep things light. So in order to make people laugh and smile and see something nice every now and then. So I can show you. I made this small video for the social media and Instagram and everything. Is about is in a small canyon, just 20 minutes northern than my place. I live on at the foothill here, so so we have this. It's called Karsik. I don't know if this is a word in English. It is. Okay, fantastic. So you have this Karsik highland, so all the water just flow directly underground, and then you merge. And sometimes you have some little streams. So the streams are less than 2 meters wide, so it's 7 feet wide and a feet depth. Maximum. and mostly in the summer you get fish only under the waterfalls, because that's the only place where the water still is. So you have a pool here, a pool there, it's nothing in between. So this was the end of the season was early September. So I went there with a friend and found some good luck. So let's see.
Yeah.
Today is my birthday, so I've prepared a little present for everyone. These are some of my favorite memories from my last fishing season. I've been exploring a little canyon with my good friend Mattia, and we have been finding a lot of wild fishes, wild trout, with huge fin, a strong tail and wonderful colors. The more we went upstream, the more trouts we found, and we were pretty happy about that. And one after another, we have arrived at that small waterfall that you can see in the background. And under the waterfall, there was a treat, a very special treat. A great treat. Strong and still untamed. The queen of the valley. She was still full of energy. And eventually, here she is, with that vibrant yellow belly, that huge head, the wide back, and strong tail of a wild fish. I'm still in love with her, and I really hope to see her again in the future. Well, that's it. Happy birthday to me, and I hope everyone has enjoyed this video. Bye!
So that was my first appearance in front of the camera.
Yeah, I think you smashed it. Yeah, maybe a change of you become the talent in front of the camera now from now on. I think.
Yeah, but I have to find a talent guy to film me, so it's pretty hard here because that was my camera in the incapable hand of my friend. So the only 3 seconds with I wasn't focused. Oh, the light is dead.
Well, listen, we need to do some cultural exchange stuff. Then we need to come and film you doing some stuff, and then you can come and do some stuff with us, and we'll share the fishing fun part of it as well as the hard work behind the camera. So
no, that could be done.
I mean, I'm definitely down for some marble trout fishing at some point.
Marble trout are amazing. I had some filming of them. I've been. They are in. I don't know how many people in Britain knows marble trout. By the way,
the people who have heard about them tend to associate them with Slovenia, so they don't. It's quite unknown that. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to have caught an Italian marble trout. It's not very big, and they get a lot bigger. But yeah, that's the sort of marmorata is a
marmorata,
quite a thing. Yeah.
Marmorata. Well, it's an indigenous word. Let's see, like this. Is an indigenous trout of all the Alpine area. So it's in Italy. There's this big river, the Po, which divided the Padana, the flatland, in two. So in the northern part, so directly from the Alps to the river Po, there's the natural habitat of the marble trout. Under that, you have the Mediterranean trout, which is a smaller brown trout with some peculiar characteristics. Let's see if I can. This is pretty nice. It's only 9 seconds long, but we can make it on a loop, so it can work. Let's see if it does loop. It doesn't loop, so please forgive me. It's the biggest trout I think in Europe because it grows up to 20 kilos, so which is a lot.
Huge fish, yeah.
It's called marmorata in Italian because it has this vermicolatura in English, this design or this pattern on its flank, which reminds the marble. what's wrong here? Oh yeah, sorry. It's pretty hard to work under pressure, to be honest. I've never
You're
been
doing a great
live.
job. You're doing a great job.
Thank you. It is, I'll say, it's the fish we all want. The fish we all want to get, basically. So it's pretty hard. Not that hard to find. Okay, let's do like this. I'll share you my library, which is packed with them. Do you see this?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. No! So we just look for marmorata, marble trout. And then, for example, those are 2 of them spawning.
Oh, wow.
I almost died to get this picture because it was early February. No, late January, because the fishing season wasn't started already. And I just saw, I was walking, I volunteer as a how is it called in English? Fishing police?
Yeah, like a bailiff or, yeah. But
so I just keep looking for people who tends to steal trout. So
yes, exactly that. Yeah, fishing bailiff. Yeah.
Fishing bailiff. Yeah. So in a small tributaries to the Adige River, which is the second biggest river in Italy, I saw the shadow of these 2 under branches. So I thought that if I didn't get the chance to film them, I would regret it. But I didn't have any waters with me because I was on patrol.
Yeah.
So I just decided to go in as my mother made me, so fully naked. I just stripped down. So no underwear, no nothing. I just go straight to the water with a GoPro. And it turns out, let's see, oh, this is a good one. Oh, well, it turns out that the marble trout has no fear of you.
Right.
When it's winter until you touch them.
Okay.
I'll show you the footage. For example, this is a particular one.
Yeah.
Here you can. This is a pure breed. It's not an hybrid. They tend to hybrid with the brown trout.
Yes. Yeah.
So the particularity of the brown or the marble trout is that the mouth, the eye is particularly is in the center of the head. So
yes.
At the back of the mouth, and the mouth is super long.
Yeah.
It's almost like a pike. So it's has this beak as a great predator.
Yeah.
And the pattern on the is pretty nice. So this was this is the footage. You see, so she's just swimming, and I am like 30 centimeters away from them.
Wow.
It's just there. So,
that's amazing.
Yeah, you can
and
literally
again,
touch.
Just another example of the dedication that it takes to get these shots as well. I mean, I'm kind of glad it wasn't in selfie mode when you took that.
No. That is a GoPro mounted on a stick.
Yeah. Just
put it underwater and hoping to get the trout in the frame. This one is a big one.
You're not kidding.
Yeah, they are wonderful fish. And this is a good friend of mine, recently departed, recently dead. So.
Oh, what a fish! I want a photo.
Yeah. This was. You see that this kind of design on the how is it called in Italian? It's called opercolo.
Operculum or the gill plate.
Yeah.
Gill
gill
cover.
Plate.
Yeah.
So here, when you can see the marble design on the gill plate is probably a pure breed.
Yeah.
So then we have some hybrid. For example, this is a pure breed too. This is in Verona City
That's
Center.
the size of the head of that. That's
it's in Verona City Center. This one.
Wow.
Some are incredibly big. So for a trout, this is
it's terrifying. I mean, people might have heard of like Hootchen, and they might have heard of Taimen and things like that. But yeah, those marble trout are up there.
Marble trout are incredible. You see that those are marble trout who lives in it's called, they are artificial irrigation channel.
Okay.
So you can see the black spot, the black spot on the nose. They have scar on the nose because they live in a concrete environment. So it's concrete on the bottom of the river, concrete on the banks, and when they hunt, they tend to arch themselves a lot.
Wow.
Let's see if I can find. Oh, this is a nice shot.
Yeah, that's so cool.
You can see that here there are some
Yeah.
small rainbow trout,
Yeah.
because this one is a smart one, and went directly under the point where under a fish farm,
Okay.
where eventually some small rainbow trout escape, and she just get there to fatten up.
Yeah.
For example, this, let's see, well, this is me last winter, and this is always from my friend. This is a great fish with a fly.
Fantastic.
Yeah, caught on a fly. It was with a much brown on number 12 hook, so it's super rare because they tend to become more ichthyophagus. Is that the word in English? They tend to eat more fish than
Yeah. Piscivorous, I guess, or fish eating. Yeah.
piscivorous. Yes.
Yeah.
And those are really great specimen in the Verona city center. That's the crazy part, because we tend to think that fishes like clear water, but those are directly on the depurator is a word.
Oh
No?
yes, yeah. Depurator. Yeah.
Those are directly under the depurator.
Wow.
So where all the filtrated water, which is not the cleanest, came out, and all the bigger fish are there. Because the dirtier the water. So this is an incredible picture. For example, I was conducting some operation with some electrical fishing, because we have to empty a channel.
Yeah.
And we found some dead one. So that is a 1.5 liter bottle. It's not it's not a small one. It's not the one you carry around. This is a regular sized bottle.
Wow.
Okay. So those are the bigger one is a pure breed marble trout, and the other two are most likely the second is an hybrid, and the first is a brown trout.
Yeah.
That kind of white and black pattern is on the Adige River mostly.
Yes. Yeah.
So you can see that a big one is pretty fat.
Yeah.
So in that belly there was a 34 centimeters barbel.
Wow.
So it is so when you think that your number 8 fly is too big,
your streamer is getting too big and too out.
Your streamer is too big. Just remember that there is a almost a pound of barbel in that belly.
Yeah.
So they just know no mercy. So those are this is always the city center, always in the city center. So they are
phenomenal.
Yeah, they're incredible fish, and this is where we breed them in. We also breed them, of course. There's some
because there is as you're saying, the hybridization with the brown trout and the situation.
This is an 8 kilo one in the city center.
Wow.
Literally in the city center. Now is a protected species now, so this one was kept, but nowadays you cannot keep them any longer in all the Veneto region. So it's good.
That's phenomenal.
Sometimes we do something good.
Yeah, we get it right sometimes. Cool. And again, the fact that I know you sort of only briefly mentioned it, but the fact that you're passionate enough to get out there and do the volunteer sort of bailiffing of that and the protection of the fishing and the fish populations. I mean, that's
you have to do that, because this kind of trout is an endangered one, because its habitat is only this big. So it's northern Italy and western Slovenia, basically. So that's where they are, and they have been under stress because northern Italy is one of the densest, the part of Europe with more population per square kilometer. So it's a really densely inhabited area. So the pressure on the river in order to produce energy is pretty high.
Yeah.
But we managed to strike good deals with electricity producers, so they tend to help us breed more trout and tend to help us build fish stairs and everything.
Yes, yeah.
Now there are a lot of projects in order to find, recover, and breed the genetically more pure specimen that we can find. For example, this was some electrical fishing. You can see that this marble trout is completely dark because she was living directly under a tree, and we can pick her up. But you can see that by the formation on her pectoral fin that this was not this was free as a small fish.
Yes.
This wasn't born in nature. That is a typical
Yes.
deformation you have in stocked fish.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we have this problem with fish domestication. For this is a good hybrid. You see, you see the nose is always, there are always scars on the nose.
Yeah. I see that.
Okay.
So the marble trout is phenomenal fish, and again, you can tell your passion for that project and for those fish as a species is absolutely palpable. But just maybe changing tack a little bit, I wondered if you could perhaps share with us some of the tuna fishing that I know that you've been capturing as well.
I have something, because of course Italy is surrounded by sea. So in those last 12 years, there has been a good program of tuna protection. So in order to basically kick the Japanese out of the Mediterranean, we started agreeing that the tuna season would be extremely short. So there is a maximum amount of tuna that can be caught, and that amount normally is reached within a week.
Wow.
So for a week of fishing is not economically sustainable to keep a fleet there. So in that way, we kind of kick the professional fishermen for tuna fishermen out of the sea. Yeah. And the results are incredible, because now there are projects for monitoring the movement. So most of the fish get tagged, and then we record where they got hooked the first time, then when they get hooked on the second time. So there is a lot of work going on for the tuna, because it's a commercially precious fish, I would say.
Yes, yeah.
Pretty expensive. So I've been filming a couple of competitions. This is a drifting competition. So they fish with that bait, basically. Yeah. And is in Ancona, so in central Italy.
Yeah.
And I'm not lying to you. There has been a lot of vomiting in this shooting, because I'm not used to do this, but I did. Well, let's just give a look, and then we'll talk. Oh yeah, I forgot. Wait, I think we can skip this. I think we can. Yeah. So this is the Marina Dorica. This is the bait provider.
Okay. Important.
So lot of fishermen.
Yeah.
Is a pretty expensive business. This is my good friend Diego Vedetti. So a little flotilla here. And you see that in Italian that is called long wave.
Okay.
The long wave kills you every time.
Yes. Yeah.
It just kills you. I almost broke a finger here catching the Ronin.
Oh really?
Yeah. Here you must compliment me, because the horizon is perfectly stable. Here is no longer stable. So here I'm dying. Okay.
Again, it's that just professionalism though, you know, people don't understand how much you have to kind of suffer to get this stuff.
Yeah, but this kind of, you see that the focus here is not great, because I'm dying.
Yes.
Okay, so when they get the fish, they just cut the line at the end. They measure it.
Touch the leader, yeah.
So everyone has a judge. See the yellow shirt guy is just there measuring the fish.
Yeah.
So you get your point, then you have the point you get more points for how thin the line you're using is.
Okay, yeah.
And how long did it take you to get the fish? And then eventually you just cut, and you just cut the tippet. The judge gets the tippet, and at the end of the day they measure with a dynamometer how strong the tippet was. So they give you some points to do for that too. Yeah. So the thinner, the weaker the line for the bigger fish, you get more point.
Wow.
So this is. I love to film this. You see that the horizon is stable. Mm-hmm. So in this way you get an idea on how much the boat is moving.
Yes, yeah.
But you also are dying.
Yeah, at the same time.
So those are just tuna jumping and jumping and jumping. I was supposed to film that with the drone, but again, I was green at this moment.
Yeah.
Those are this is the boat of the jury boat.
Uh-huh.
And this guy, I was dying. This guy was writing down. Just
Oh,
give a look at what's happening there.
Yeah. So he's looking straight down at the page, and then the.
Okay. Okay. He's just writing.
Yeah.
Okay, this is pretty long because you should cut a lot here. The nice part is this is a here you can see some fish. This is Diego Bedetti, the winner. He's a professional fishing guide for tuna, so of course he won. He has more experience, so he can land most of them. And he had this boat custom built for him. So you see, this is the measuring. Yeah, you have those stripes with different colors. So the green one, black one, and then all the judging has been done by me.
Uh-huh.
Which I wasn't involved at all, but my computer was the only one writing. So I have to look at all the footage of the GoPro of the people filming the fish tell them where this goes in the red part of the stick, this in the green part, this in the white one. So and you win a lot of money. It's 4,000, 2,500 euros for the second place, 4,000 euros for the first place. They're not like a bass fishing competition, but it's a lot for Italy. And then you see there's this part of it at the end. So maybe we can edit this in order to make it shorter.
Yeah.
But there is some tuna. This is really sizable tuna.
You're not kidding.
In the Adriatic Sea. In the Tyrrhenian Sea, this is like a baby tuna.
Yeah.
Because in the see you in 2020, never not gonna happen. So this was filmed in the Adriatic Sea. So you saw all those tuna were from 50 to 80 kilos mostly. And they were measuring them with a stick with a Italian rainbow color. So you get points in order on how big the fish is, how strong their tippet is, how long did it take to land it. The tippet has been recovered by the judges. So after with the dynamometer, they measure how strong they were.
Yes.
And all the tippet got cut, and the hook is biodegradable. So it just disappear.
Yeah.
80 kilos is a good size tuna for the Adriatic Sea. But on the other side of Italy, in the Tyrrhenian Sea, it goes up to 200 kilos. So it's all another business. But it's a pretty intense fishing. Spinning and fly fishing for tuna are incredibly fun. You use a special radar, which kind of looks only for seagulls. So whenever you look two or more seagulls, they probably are looking for sardine. The sardine are being pushed out of the water by the tuna. So you just run as fast as you can. You stop the motors, just let the boat go. And then you have one or two casts to cast in the middle of the frenzy. And eventually you get one.
Wow.
The nicest thing that happened is that we broke a number 20 line fly fishing rod that I didn't even know that existed.
No, who knew? Who the hell can cast one of those?
I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can, because the tippet of the rod, the final part, is this big. As big as your little finger here. And I had one. And the reel looks like a regular reel, like this big. And I have this ginormous line that makes no sense at all. So we were just there waiting for something to happen. Not on the day of the competition, of course, some days before. And eventually one frenzy starts right in front of the boat. So they told the side that it was the time to do it. So they put on something on the line. Just laser it and cast it like this. Start stripping, and they got one.
The
problem is that the tuna is big. So when you hook a tuna who weighs more than you do, it's not clear who caught who, because the tuna just starts going, and to be more precise, it starts diving. So you just go down. And tend to try to do something, but of course you can't do something. One guy almost lost a hand because he got the line wrapped around his arm and it almost snapped it.
Yeah.
And so after 20 seconds, the tuna ran everything. We ran out of line, we ran out of backing. So then before snapping, it breaks the spigot of the rod.
Yeah.
So with only one cast, we managed to get a 2,000 euros rod, 200 euros of line and backing, 20 euros of bait in only one cast, less than 30 seconds completely. So
that's an expensive 30 seconds right there.
It's an expensive adrenaline rush, I would say.
Listen, Andrea, that is amazing. And I could literally sit here all afternoon and just carry on talking about it. We're going to have to get you back on again because I know that you've got so many stories and so much footage to share with us. So we'll definitely do that. In the meantime, how can people get hold of you if they want to hire you for a filming job or talk to you about projects, that kind of thing? How can folks go about getting hold of you?
Well, normally in Italy, they just work, how to say, word by word. They tell each other how good I am. So then they just hire me. Yeah. I have my contact details. So normally the people found me on my Instagram, Crobu. Yeah. I usually publish there some short extracts, some trailer for people.
Yeah, and I can definitely, anybody who does want to check out some of Andrea's work, both the stills, some of the wildlife photography, outside of the fishing stuff as well, and the short clips of video, they're definitely worth checking out. You can probably tell from what we've seen today. So check out Crobu Pics. I'll put a link in the description wherever you find this video as well. But for today, it just remains to thank you so much for your time and sharing all of these experiences with you. And we will definitely have you on again.
Okay, thank you very much. It has been my pleasure being here.